Halloween Mayhem 64 is a ROM hack by Kaze and Kinopio? Yeah, Kinopio. I don't know if I pronounced that right, so Googling it up showed Toad. Huh. Well, there's your fun fact of the day. This hack contains 8 stars. The theming of the area is like an original recreation of Tim Burton's Halloween Town, or at least that's what my guess was, considering that's the music I was jamming to in the hub area. The hub's design has its spooky vibes. Haunted looking houses, haunted sheds, haunted clock tower, haunted graveyards, the whole Halloween props you'd usually expect. Wandering around the town, you'll see bob-ombs with angry eyes, goombas with capes that apparently turn into bats after they're attacked once, and a few boos in the graveyard I mentioned a few seconds ago. Speaking of those boos, in order to deal with them, you have to lead them each into a tombstone, otherwise there's going to be no butt pounds in this area. Once they're all gone, it'll trigger the lock gate to open, and once inside, we enter a 2-dimensional segment with a minecart, akin to Donkey Kong Country, Kirby Superstar, Mario and Luigi Team, Super Saga, etc, etc. You get what I mean. I do have to warn you all though, these levels aren't just a simple one and done, but more of a you die once, twice, thrice, and it ain't that nice. But I did enjoy adapting to how the level was and the timing of when you jump and how long you should keep the A button pressed in order to make it all the way through to get the star. Okay, so before I talk about this next level, apparently the intended way was to go check up on the owl up in this high poly tree, but yeah, just looking at this, it kind of speaks for itself what happened. So maybe that's a parallel launcher issue because I tried other plugins, but the same issue occurred again. Maybe if you really suck at platforming, then maybe try Project 64. But then again, if you do suck at platforming, this level might make you quit anyways. So entering the house's chimney, we get shrunken down and you have to traverse some witch's cauldron with nasty ingredients like blocky Swiss cheese, some poor person's eyeballs, a tick or whatever bug that looks identical to whatever that is, a bone that's probably what's left over of the owner of those eyeballs, some bat wings, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Not the band, but actual peppers. The platforming is a little bit of a hit or miss, but to each their own. I had my fair share of struggling, so don't feel too bad if you do end up suffering many deaths, especially on the last part. That's the biggest struggle that'll stir your pot. Now, I'll let that joke sink in. Before we get into the clock tower, there's this wooden patch you can ground pound into and hit a switch residing within it, which in turn will open up the way inside the clock. I really like how this was handled by making the turn hands rotate as it should have. Also, even the fact that the turn hands were the very things that were blocking your path. Pretty neat. Okay, so I know I mentioned the cauldron being a harder level than the first one. Well, this one is harder than both of those combined. The amount of times I died on this first clock cog is downright disrespectful. But I'd be lying if I never said I laughed at how I kept dying and how janky up the deaths were. And I can only recommend you use Blackito Cam, and when it comes to platforming about on gears and the elevating yellow thingy, just take your time. There's no rush here whatsoever. But after clearing that level, seeing the name of it wasn't an understatement, that's for damn sure, because you will see death many times, but you might also get a laugh, so at least there's that. So as mentioned before, there's a ghost house in the plaza. We gotta go inside, but it's locked. So in order to unlock it, there's a well that requires 35 coins in order for Mario to make a wish for that key. Once obtained, we can move on, and I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but this next level is record-breaking for the amount of times I died because of either platforming or having a bad time figuring out the distance or a bad time figuring out the depth perception, not knowing what certain platforms are gonna do, and the worry that this unknown dude in the painting might light a fire underneath Mario's ass. But I still like this though. The challenging nature from all the levels so far were unique, and in Super Mario World Blue House fashion, the last thing we gotta do is follow the trail of green moving blocks while managing to dodge boos and dodge books being shot at you in whatever direction it decided to shoot from. So for this next level, in order to answer it, you must fill the pool with blood. I had no idea what to do or what that meant, but I did spend my time getting hurt punching Goombas into the pool, sitting in the pool, doing absolutely nothing, thinking maybe that would somehow make it work. So what you have to do is hurt Mario up until the point that his HP is red. I like that as a detail. It does make sense after all. And not only that, but the pool actually fills up. Though it's still weird that regaining HP closes the way you need to go. But regardless, the gate is open, so we can enter it. And within the gated tree, there's a slide level. I typically don't like sliding levels much, but this one had that ease feeling. And with the red coins to collect throughout it, and the whole dodging the slicers and trying to manage out your speed. Granted, it is pretty spacious, so this one was pretty much the easiest level you'll go through. And there's literally no difficulty spike whatsoever. And it wasn't too much as too easy or too hard. It just felt just right. Just like the other levels, there's another unique way to enter this next one. We make use of the Plaza's bomb that's nearby this little air duct wave thingy or whatever, and use that same air duct to levitate up onto the roof and yeet this bomb at the cracked wall on the side. Nice Zelda reference aside, there's an Egyptian coffin that we can enter and go through, and it has that ancient stuff that you'd expect, like booby traps, wall traps, the floors crumble beneath you. And now that I think about it, the shooting bookshelves in the Bros house level would have definitely worked here if remodeled and retextured to look like walls shooting spikes at you, but I digress. The level didn't give me as much trouble as the last levels I've been through, but it was tricky on the first go, which now that I think about it, I feel like the only difficulty this game really has is that first blind playthrough kind of vibe, because once you've done it once, you kind of already know what's going to happen, so you basically have everything hands down for the next attempt that you take. So once we have 6 stars, we can go to the second to the last level, which I wanted to enjoy its atmosphere up until... yeah, I guess admiring the scenery wasn't allowed here. So this being at the base of the clock tower, we have to go yet again on a climbing like tower level, and the lava that rudely interrupted me from enjoying the scenery is the only thing timing you. It has that good and pure classic 2D Mario, but in a 3-dimensional space. And with the TikTok Hawk assets here, they really kind of help with that aesthetic, especially with the whole hurry up and pop out tension before this lava burns Mario's ass again. But sadly, because of that, it also comes across as copy and pasted, but rearranged. But it's understandable. So 1 level down, 1 more to go. So with that level done and everything was basically kind of seen, there was nothing really new up until there's a prop that pops up over a fenced field, and that prop is a UFO, which is probably a reasoning for why the cows went missing. As this post mentioned earlier, we let ourselves get abducted, and within it is an all retro, green, and cyberspace-like world with a self-aware 4th wall break post front and center. But overall, it's just a collect the red coins level. The wing cat makes an appearance here, slippery wireframe floors, NES question blocks, and the NES clouds from Super Mario Bros. 1. It felt like a calm, soothing way to end the game off. The only thing that kind of sucked about this level was finding the very last red coin and the pink bomb at the same area. Really could have saved me a whole bunch of time, considering triple jump flying block by block was way more tedious, but I still enjoyed the level for what it was. But that was SM64 Halloween Mayhem, a small but neat mini hack for your spooky vibes, and I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the various amount of music that was here, and I really gotta give good kudos on the team for working on that, especially considering I kept jamming to the whole Halloween Town theme song. And not only that, but considering my true sequel to Super Mario 64 ROM hack video, like I mentioned how no one really utilizes the owl, but like the owl's utilized here. It did kind of suck that I never got to see him because, you know, as I mentioned before, the game froze up. So what can you do? I still at least like the fact that he was at least involved in some sort of way. And I also been enjoying this monthly theme video type of style for its holiday or whatever. Stuff when I can make smaller videos in tandem to it. Well, I hope you've been enjoying them as well. And if this is the first video you've seen, go check them out for yourself. And thank you for the people involved in this game's development. I also gotta say, thank you for all the people who have been here on my support. I finally got community tabs unlocked, and I am very happy for that. Other than those thankful stuff, happy Halloween, dweebs.
I ain't gonna let it get to me, I'm just gonna creep down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find my lost speeds. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my